I'm really thinking of moving to America, and I'm so excited for that if it was to happen. But I saw this video today and it made me scratch my head because it's like, food is such an important aspect of everybody's life, right? And this is a family that lived in America for many, many years and found that there was something odd about America's food. I mean, any Americans watching this, have you ever noticed, if you've traveled abroad, like any differences between American food and the food that you try abroad? Because it was enough to make this family move.
Before we left the United States, we had heard that food in other countries was different. We just didn't realize exactly how big of a difference that would be.
Different how, though?
This is McDonald's French fries. In the US, there's 11 ingredients. In the UK, there's 3. An ingredient called dimethylpolysiloxane is an ingredient preserved with formaldehyde, a neurotoxin, in the US version. This is used as a foaming agent so they don't have to replace the oil that often, making McDonald's more money here in the United States.
It's not just McDonald's, but the ingredients in almost everything, even at the grocery store, is completely different. From ketchup to cereals, bread, pasta, the pesticides that are used on the fruits and vegetables, the chemicals that they're using to clean the meat processing plants, and even the food that they're feeding those animals. A lot of the things that we use in the US are completely banned in other countries.
American cheese isn't even real cheese.
What?
The FDA won't even let this be labeled as cheese because it contains less than 50% of pressed milk curds.
So what's the rest of it? If it's less than 50% milk, what's the rest?
For something to be labeled as cheese, it has to contain at least 50% cheese.
Over time, food has become more processed. The ingredient list is continuing to get longer as scientists continue to develop new chemicals and additives inside of labs to add to our foods. They're doing this to extend shelf life, cut down on cost, and to make our food more appealing.
But how is it legal to put formaldehyde in food? Like what?
Has led to more ultra-processed food. Foods that are designed to last longer, cost less to produce, and keep you coming back for more. And that's where things start to get a little concerning.
I moved from the US to Germany. I was shocked to find out that some of the foods I grew up with are banned here in Europe. Like some of our favorite sugary cereals that contain the flavor enhancer and preservative BHT. Restricted here because it potentially causes cancer. All those studies are inconclusive. Some citrus flavored sodas are also not allowed here in the European Union because they contain brominated vegetable oil, a chemical that keeps the citrus flavor from separating and floating to the top. Eggs here in Europe come with chicken poop and feathers on them. Washed eggs, like the ones you find in the US, are illegal here because washing the egg destroys a natural layer of the egg that protects against bacteria. So that's why the eggs here, unlike in the US, don't have to be refrigerated.
It's easy to say just don't buy that.
So what happens if you buy eggs in America and you don't put them in the fridge? Like, do they expire really quickly? Like here, if you buy eggs, we leave them out and they'll last a good 3 weeks.
That stuff, but the environment in the United States is designed for these products to sell. A lot of the most common foods in the US are engineered for you to crave them. They are appealing in a way that overrides your natural sense of fullness. Companies are spending millions of dollars trying to figure out how to make foods more craveable, not to make them more healthy. They are looking for the right combination of salt and sugar and fat, and even texture so that it hits your brain just right. You get a dopamine hit and you can't stop. And when you combine that with the fact that our foods are completely stripped of any real nutrients, then it leaves your body craving more food just to get the nutrients that it needs.
Are there certain grocery stores though in America that don't sell as much of the processed stuff and the stuff is a bit more healthy? The only grocery stores I really know of are like Kroger, Whole Foods, Walmart, and Trader Joe's. Like, which of those has sort of the highest quality in terms of the food?
So it leaves a lot of Americans overweight, but undernourished. At some point, it stops feeling like real food and you start wondering what it is that you are actually eating.
I bought this bread months ago. This is the expiration date. It is best used by December 28th, 2025. It is currently February 10th or 11th of 2026.
Wow.
This bread has absolutely no imperfections.
That's crazy. That bread should be covered in mold. Covered in mold.
Nothing. And I used to have to like freeze my bread, the same bread, like years ago, just because it went bad on me so quick. So I don't know what they're doing, but they're giving us fake bread.
When the food that
What are they putting in the bread? Like, bread really, after about a week or so, should start to be moldy. Like, if it's real bread that's not been like full of preservatives.
you're eating doesn't behave like real natural food, then you start to wonder, what is it actually doing to your body? So we left the US over a year ago and have been traveling around Southeast Asia, and also we spent some time in Europe. My husband has been battling an autoimmune disease, and after leaving the US, it has been much easier for him to calm down any flare-ups, find real whole foods. That has made a tremendous difference to just his overall well-being.
Dude, whatever they're eating, that looks delicious, man.
For me, I noticed it in a different way. I was having some signs of perimenopause in my late 30s before we left.
Wow.
And those have completely gone away
Perimenopause in your late 30s, that's quite early, isn't it?
since we left the US. I can't say exactly why, but it does make you wonder
If it's the food.
why there is such a rise in autoimmune diseases, hormone imbalances, and all of that stuff in the US. And could it potentially be tied to the food that we're eating? And we are not the only ones who have noticed this.
I just came home from 2 months of traveling around Southeast Asia, and I weighed myself and I measured like different parts of my body, like my waist, my hips, my legs, etc., before I left so that I could compare when I got back home. I just did both of those things. I remeasured and reweighed myself, and in 2 months I lost 13 pounds
Wow.
and 18 and a half inches around my whole body. When I'm home, I cook all my own meals. I exercise 4 to 5 times a week. And when I'm traveling, I don't really I don't do much exercising.
So she exercised less, way less than when she was back in America, and she still lost 13, almost 14 pounds.
Besides just like daily walking, and I eat every single meal out.
That's crazy.
There is something wrong with the food in America, and I will fucking die on this hill. Like, I've been back for 3 days, and I immediately already have bloating, acid reflux, heartburn, and a stomach ache after every single meal I've had since I've been home.
For us, stepping outside of the
Wow.
US is where things really started to feel different. It was like a reset. We didn't leave because of the food, but it was one of the first things that we noticed. Ingredient lists were shorter. Food actually looked like real food. Even just walking through the grocery store felt different. We didn't have that constant need to check labels.
Americans watching this, like, if you've been abroad, particularly to Europe or anywhere else, to be honest, like, have you noticed a difference in how you feel when you get back? Like in terms of the food that you've eaten, like, have you noticed anything similar to what's been discussed here, or have you just felt the same? Like, have you lost any weight? Maybe you're like any headaches or anything, any conditions you've had? Has there been any difference, like a noticeable difference?
In places like Southeast Asia, fresh food is everywhere. There are markets everywhere, local markets with local food that's grown right here, in street food where they cook like homemade meals with fresh ingredients right there every day, and you can just buy them from your neighbors. And when all of that is available to you, it really changes how much
Oh, look at the kid. She's having such a good time.
pressure you were under to try and figure out how to eat healthy, because most of the stuff around you is pretty healthy. It's real fresh ingredients. Now, not everything is super healthy. I mean, they do use a lot of oil in Asia, and there's still processed foods in Europe that you can buy.
For sure,
It's just
for sure.
easier. And because these foods are not engineered to make you crave more, it's a lot easier to resist the feeling of constantly needing to eat.
I mean, I think it should be banned, don't you? Like, so scientists are literally designing food to make you eat more and more of it. Like, that should be like banned.
You eat a meal and you feel full. We do a lot less thinking when it comes to food now. And one of the things that surprised us the most actually has nothing to do with health. It has to do with cost. I assumed that when we went to Europe that the food prices were going to be a lot higher, definitely as high as they were in the United States. But what we found is that the food is higher quality and actually cost less. It was so nice to be able to go into a grocery store and not have to check every single label, because a lot of the things that we tried to avoid just were not allowed to be put in the food. They are banned. I mean, sure, you can buy processed stuff, but it's not going to be stuff that is super harmful to your body.
I will say, when I went to Florida as a kid and I tried Fruit Loops for the first time, they were delicious. They were so tasty. And then when we got back, I got Fruit Loops in Tesco's, and it just didn't taste the same, didn't taste as good. I'm guessing maybe like certain ingredients in the American Fruit Loops just aren't available here. Massive difference in the taste.
And the problem in the US starts really early. Just look at school lunches. They are oftentimes ultra processed, low cost, shelf stable, so that they can be easy to serve at scale. And when those types of foods become normal at such a young age, it shapes what kids think food is supposed to look like when they grow up.
American school lunches taste horrible because of 3 reasons. The first reason is due to America's bizarre school lunch rules, because a loophole allows a certain amount of tomato sauce to be classified as a vegetable, which has led to foods like pizza and Hot Pockets to be classified as healthy meals. But this gets worse because compared to other countries in Europe and Asia where schools get upwards of $8 per meal, American schools only get $3.50 per meal. And lastly, this has led many schools having to use processed foods and source low-quality ingredients for meals, as they don't have enough money.
So it's not...
Man, that's just... How is that? That doesn't make any sense. America's such a rich country. Why only $3 per meal? Like, why is that? You know?
Just individual choices. It's the system that we're growing up in. And when all of this becomes the norm, when most of the available options are built this way in the US, it starts to shape the entire system. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to make the healthiest foods possible. It's to make the food that sells. Food that is affordable to produce, easy to scale, and keeps people coming back for more. And that works really well for the companies who are selling it. But it doesn't work out so well for the people who are eating it. And over time, you start to see the effects that this is having, not just on a day-to-day basis, but in people's overall health and longevity over time. People are ending up with chronic health conditions. There's never been a higher rate of obesity, diabetes.
Cancer as well. Like, I remember as a kid, it used to be 1 in 3 people get diagnosed with cancer. Now it's 1 in 2. I feel like cancer's increasing in frequency now.
Heart disease. And these people end up needing more medical care. And that's where the conversation starts to get a lot bigger than just food. Because once you start connecting the dots, you start to realize that food is just one piece of something much bigger.
Honestly, that really gives me, and I'm sure you, a lot of food for thought, because food is just so important. It's where we get our nutrients. It's how our body heals. It's everything. Like, what we eat is what we are, essentially. And if they're allowing scientists to literally design food to make it as addictive as possible, and they're putting ingredients like formaldehyde in there, which is known to be a brain-rotting neurotoxin, like, I'm sorry, the rules need to be changed, because it's just out of order. Like, it's unacceptable. Like, I think the government, every government has a responsibility to look out for the safety and well-being of its citizens. And frankly, this is not behavior you would expect of a government that really cares about its people. Like, if a chemical is known to literally rot your brain, that should be banned. Like, Do you disagree with that? I'm pretty sure we agree on that. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and check out the video I'm going to link right here. See you there.